Ladies and gentlemen, in this RedGamer.com video, let us discuss virtual reality headsets and technology. This time, we have news from Valve. They have indeed stated that they are ready to unveil their software development kits, and it won't be too long. We're looking at possibly sometime during next week. And indeed, we have a little bit of information thanks to Valve's Brian Kumar. He was actually speaking with the BBC. And during the discussion, they've been going through a little bit of what they've been working on at Valve. So, some of you may be aware, but there is a relationship between Valve and Oculus VR, right? Oculus Virtual Reality. And so there's a good chance that there's already some integration with the SDK with Oculus Rift. So some of you may be familiar with Valve's Steamwork SDK. Now, if this is very similar, or at least similar-ish, in theory, developers should, and emphasize should because it's not 100% been confirmed or done yet, but developers should be able to integrate their game with support with VR headsets. So this, in once again theory, should mean that a lot more games will indeed support it. Indeed, Brian also stated that there's also a technology in development at Valve based around head tracking and headset manufacture and design. We are working with other companies right now, but have not made any specific announcements. And indeed, he further added, Steam is in a unique position to be this intermediary between hardware, software, and users. Without that, it's going to be hard for any device to get serious traction. End quote for now. So this is like the thing with Valve right now. They're really trying to get into the PC gaming space and not just make it easier for gamers to play, which, of course, their whole Steam OS and Steam Box initiatives are. Steam Machines, I'm sorry. The basic premise, of course, is they want gamers to just be able to bring their PC into the living room without any fuss. Or for those of us who aren't maybe so technically adept, you can just buy a system already pre-configured, everything's going to be hunky-dory, and it's going to pretty much fit into a set of criteria when you're buying the machine. So obviously the more expensive or the better configured in terms of the hardware the machine is, the more powerful and the more capable it will be to play a certain set of games, right? But Valve don't want to just settle with that. They don't want to just settle at, oh, okay, well, we've got slightly better ease of use for customers, or a lot better ease of use actually for the customers. We also need to work with developers. Now, Valve have their fingers in a lot of pies right now, just like Nvidia, just like AMD, as well as a couple of other companies. AMD, of course, as well as Nvidia, are working on things such as display technologies, much more powerful GPUs, HSA, that type of thing. But Valve are working on things such as adoption for Linux technologies, better SDKs, and all of this is pretty simple. They want to allow the gaming community to flourish, but they don't want to make it so bloody difficult where, for example, I'm sure some of you might be aware of issues if you don't have an Xbox 360 controller for, say, games. Let's say you'll want to play Batman on just some random controller that you happen to have lying around that's not an Xbox 360 controller. I guarantee you it's going to be a hell of a lot harder because the Xbox 360 controller, it just works. For 90% of games, you just put it in, no fuss. Okay, not all games are great playing it, but overall, it just works. On the other hand, a lot of controllers, they don't have this. There's always that issue. Even the PlayStation 4 controller is nowhere near as simple as an Xbox 360, which you just simply plug in. And this is something the Valve don't want with the Oculus Rift. And like it or not, a lot of hardware manufacturers are really going to have to start pushing this. And obviously, Valve are very much into the open source technologies as well. So all of this software development kit is going to be a large part to just give to the games developers so they'll be able to better control the games, better implement the headset tracking, the Oculus Rift, controllers, and everything else that you would expect as a user to integrate and to actually work with the Steam box and Steam itself. Indeed, one of the things that Valve are working on is its own line of controllers, and it's using basically a form of abstraction. So what happens in the background is that the game actually thinks that you're using a keyboard and a mouse, right? But the reality of the matter is, internally, the software is pretty much doing its own thing, changing that to the inputs. And this isn't exactly new technology. There are pieces of software already like Xpadder, but they're not exactly intuitive in that you have to go through and do each and every single game. But the basic premise is simple. It allows you to bind and map certain buttons to certain functions on the pad. And that's pretty simple and that's good and all. But to do that for every single game is definitely not easy and becomes pretty tedious. So with this, Valve are definitely in the right mindset, in my personal opinion. And hopefully we're going to be seeing a much better integration of all of these systems simply because of all the work all these companies are doing together. It is a very good time for gaming, in my personal opinion, especially for PC gaming. We're getting much better displays. Hopefully within the next 1 to 2 years we're going to be seeing 4K is pretty standard. Obviously GPUs are becoming substantially more powerful as well. And with technologies like, for example, the Oculus Rift, if you so wish to use them, it's going to make gaming very immersive. Anyway, I'm going to get going for this particular video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.